Trying to walk to the net. Gabby scores! Incredible goal! The Diary shoots and scores!
Welcome to Penn's Weekly Update with Scott and Ken, presented by Pittsburgh's DSEN. My name is Ken Craig. I'm a credentialed reporter for the Pittsburgh DSEN covering the Pittsburgh Penguins. I am joined by our resident journalist, Scott Crowell, and we're here to talk all things Pittsburgh Penguins. Today is episode 14, and we're going to be covering this past week's games, I should say. The Pens played Carolina, Colorado, Ottawa, and Dallas. Even though it was not full of wins, we still want to cover it because we have a few things to talk about in terms of Erik Karlsson's performance and, and also the Pens' overall performance since the Olympic break. Most importantly, Scott and I are currently recording this while we are watching the Pens play the New York Islanders. And I'm sure by now everyone has heard that Sidney Crosby did lace it up for tonight's game. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the Columbus Blue Jackets and New York Islanders and that kind of Metro division. I don't even know what you want to call it. Just race. I'll call it a race just to keep it PG. And then going into segment 3, we will talk about what we need to do to finish. And talk a little bit about goaltending and showing up and things like that. So, but before we kick it off, just as we always do, just a little bit of housekeeping. First, our show is brought to you by Pittsburgh's DSEN. We are a 24/7 radio station that includes Pittsburgh sports talk and lifestyle programming. Check us out and check out the music lineup at pghdsen.com. And if you're interested in receiving real-time updates, player interviews, coaching press conferences, locker room interviews, go to Pittsburgh's DSEN YouTube. Check us out. Subscribe. There's live shows throughout the week. And last, our show is on multiple platforms. So you can find Penn's Weekly Update anywhere you listen to your podcast. Now let's get back to some hockey. And Scott, what did you think about this week's games? Give us a quick rundown. Give us your insight.
Yeah, I thought it could have gone better than 1 and 2. I thought they played good, especially in that Dallas game. I thought they deserved better than what the result was. It was nice to see them come in and finally win a game here in Ottawa. It was so relieving to finally see them break the curse. They finally beat Linus Ullmark. Kind of broke that curse as well, and kind of just take 2 big points in a game where you lose Sidney Crosby, and you're back down to what you had before he was out with injury. So it's nice to pick up that win, but I think 1 and 2 was the worst thing. Well, I mean 0 and 3 would have been the worst thing, but 2 still is not the greatest, especially since all these teams we're flip flopping between them all. And I was actually going to point this out, Ken. You missed a team in the pre-production. We now, unfortunately, have to include the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yes, that's a good call out. They've been playing some good hockey as of late, and they are working their way back into a playoff spot. And I don't think we've seen the Metro or even the Eastern Conference be this loaded and tight for a long time. So
it reminds me a little bit of the 2023 season, the first year they missed the playoffs. This reminds me of that all over that again. There was 3 teams. It was Florida, the Islanders, and us.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a cycle of flip-flopping in between the wild cards and the Metro spot. And that's kind of what it reminds me of, shades of a couple of years ago. So
yeah, hopefully we are on the other side of that this year, and hopefully we can, I think you asked the question a couple episodes ago.
Damn it! What did I do?
So you asked me previously about, do the Pens hold their own destiny? And I hold strong to what I said before. I think they hold their own destiny, they hold that tightly in their hands because if they keep winning right now, they're gonna hold that playoff spot. It's when we don't show up is when we start to lose points and allow the Islanders to jump us and allow Columbus, who is playing some incredible hockey right now, they're going to jump us, right? And I think, we'll talk about this a little bit later in the episode, but luckily we are over the hump. And I think that's what this week was. That's why I'm not in complete, the sky is falling type mindset because, we lost to Carolina, we lost to Colorado, and we lost to Dallas. So we walked away out of those 3 games with the six potential points. We walked away with 0, but we did walk away with a dub against Ottawa, which I actually thought that was going to be our toughest game. Little did I know that Dallas would wake up and show up, and Carolina would make us look like we didn't even want to be there. So, in Colorado, they're just the best team in the league. I can't.
Well, I think that game, Ken, showed that Colorado's the best team in the league for a reason, and they can load the way they do, and the reason they have 108 points, and they're number
Absolutely.
1 for a reason.
Hands down.
Carolina made them look like they're a borderline playoff team.
And not only just the score, I mean, it was the way they played. I felt like going into that game that was one of the most important games of the month. If we would have gotten 2 points there, I think we would have, walked away with some confidence, feeling like, okay, we can close this out. Unfortunately, you and I were talking throughout that game, and we didn't even show up. It was their forecheck was just too much for us to handle. And it just wasn't their day.
Yeah, no, I think that Colorado game, they weren't really in it to begin with. I thought Colorado was too much. They gave them fits. I think Carolina as well, same thing. It doesn't help that off the hop, Ryan Graves puts you behind the 8 ball, and you're having to fight at a 1-0 deficit, like under a minute in. Like, that's not the easiest, especially against a Carolina team that they play a gritty game. They're hard on the puck, and they make you fight for it, but they made them fight. And they gave them literally nothing. And you could tell they were a team that watched film and knew what they needed to do. And that's a Rod Moore masterclass in itself.
Yeah, and I
think that, like, back to back, you got to see that and realize that they just weren't prepared, and they were loose, and they just weren't loose enough to be the better team.
And I talked to Justin Brazeau actually after I think it was the Colorado game. If I'm mistaken here, I apologize. Yeah, it was a Colorado, and I actually asked him directly, kind of what's missing, and he even said, he's like, I feel like they're watching tape, and some of the things that we were able to do on the penalty or on the power play, it's just not working anymore. So we need to get a little bit, and I'm not quoting in this part of it, but they just need to get a little bit more creative in how they're executing in the power play. I mean, because what we talked about before logging on, I mean, since the Olympic break, going into the Olympic break, the Penguins were 4th in the power play and 3rd in penalty kill. And typically we were ranging, anywhere from 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 in both of those categories. Since coming back from the break, the Penguins are now 17th in power play and 23rd in penalty kill. That's a significant difference. There's 2 things missing from these equations. Number 1, 87 and 71 have not played most of the games, right? Missing Sidney Crosby on your power play is going to change a lot. He's the master of setting up your power play. Even him on the ice, things just roll differently. And missing Blake Lizotte on your penalty kill. Right? Those 2 things right there, change the way that the special teams operates.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think just, again, like you said, without Sidney Crosby, a future Hall of Famer, on your power play, running the ship it's hard to come back from, just because you have to completely change your formatting. New guys in there that might have had those power play one responsibilities before. And I mean, that could change the complexity of the team and a lineup entirely. And I mean, it has. You could tell it has. And that Dallas game, they were outmatched. I mean, yes, they were in the hockey game. They should have won the game, despite what the score enticed. But ultimately, they did.
They played well enough to win. Like they played well enough, and then all of a sudden Dallas woke up and said, "Oh my goodness, we're a top 3 team in this league. Let's close this game out." And then all of a sudden they came out of nowhere and just what was it, the fourth goal? Was it Robertson's goal? Yeah, Bichel's goal. Yeah, whenever he took Carlson's stick and threw it on the ice right in front of the referee, that kind of, you could tell that took the air out of the game. And I do, I've heard a lot of people talk about Muse pulling the goalie a little early than normal. What were your thoughts on that?
And you know what's funny? I'm glad you mentioned that. I thought way too early. I thought, they still had enough time to work with where, like you gain possession, then you pull your goalie, you work the puck around, your extra attacker gets time to come into the zone, and then you set it up, work it around, and fire it on the net. Instead, he, as soon as they got in the zone, without setting up, said, "Stu, you're coming to the bench." Mm-hmm. I thought too early, and I thought that he should have waited until possession like everyone else does. Now, I say this, but I don't pretend that, the team we're playing right now, the Islanders, Patrick Waugh has tendencies of pulling the goalie with 7 minutes if he's down multiple goals. So
yeah, and I think it was you that mentioned that comparison as well, that Patrick Waugh does it a lot. I just felt like the team wasn't ready for it. Like you saw how upset Rust was. Like I feel like they wanted that opportunity to tie it up rather than, rather than Dallas just getting it down the ice and scoring again. I think there was 3:48 left in the game when he pulled the goalie the first time. Or right around there. That's when Bork scored his first empty netter. Then he went ahead and scored the second one with like a minute 10 left in the game. So I wasn't a big fan of that. I thought he pulled it way too early. I get it. I understand why he did it. I don't agree with it, but I definitely understand why.
They have time.
They only had 12 shots on net the whole game.
Yeah, and they were somehow still in the hockey game. That was your bad game for them.
Yeah, and maybe it was just like, hey, we're not getting shots, we're not getting opportunities, we're not getting quality opportunities for sure. So let's get an extra attacker out there, see what we can do. It didn't work out; it backfired significantly, but. Anything else? I don't want to spend too much time on it. I know the Pens are on the ice right now. They just dropped the puck for the second period. The score's tied 0-0 in New York. That's on the island, that is. But do you have anything else on this past week that you wanted to touch on?
I just wish they could have done better because they are now putting themselves in positions where like a game like today is such a massive swing. Where it's like if you lose, like it could be season detrimentally ending. Like where you've got to pick yourself up, you've got to put yourself out of a hole, and now you got Philly who's chasing you. So now you got another other team to it. So now you've got
they have 86 points right now.
Yeah, like they're like we're at 88?
88 points. Yep.
Like they're 2 points behind them. Like you got to really consider that. And okay. Well, as we were saying this, the Islanders just got a shorthanded breakaway. But yeah, I think I think ideally if they could have grabbed the win against Dallas, I thought this game wouldn't have been too stressful. But again, that's ultimately it's a team reflection, and I said in an article in the Dallas game, I proceeded to talk about where some old tendencies came back, which came to bite them in the ass a little bit. And there's just stuff they need to clean up. That kind of was at the start of the regular season that I noticed that's coming back a little bit, and I think it's definitely an Achilles heel.
Yeah. What do you think some of those tendencies are?
Well, I think they noted it too, but for one on the PK, I know obviously without Blake Lizotte, their top penalty killer, definitely can do wonders. But I think they give the team on the power play too much room to work with. I noticed they back up really far, and Carlson noted that they need to tighten the gap a bit more to the point where guys can't walk in from below the goal line and literally have all day to like step in and roof it top shelf. Because I noticed that, and that happened at the start of the season, and they cleaned it up, and now it's kind of come back a little bit. It's kind of creeped its ugly face again, and they need to clean it up a bit more and just, like I said, tighten the gap on the PK and don't give the PK much. I want that third ranked PK back.
Yeah, and just a quick update. Anders Lee just scored for the Islanders. I know the Penguins were on a power play and took with 20 seconds left on the power play. Took a penalty, and so the Islanders were now on the power play, and Anders Lee just got a puck past She Loves.
Oh, it just came through.
Yeah, so now Islanders are up 1-0. Yeah, Pens need to stay out of the box. But even though I did know She Loves did look like he was dialed in, you got to support him. Like you were just talking about this time and space,
Literally.
right? Time and space, and that
Well,
every single press conference, that's what Dan Muse is talking about. And if you look at look at that, right?
I mean, what's Gerard doing? Like,
Yeah, you cannot let a defender behind you like that.
that's impeccable timing as we're recording this.
Yep.
So that kind of fits the whole mojo of this episode. So it sounds bad, but it's kind of funny that happened at this time as I'm talking about how they need to tighten the gap more.
Yeah, and that's you nailed it right there. That's a perfect example of what Erik Karlsson talked about after the game. Sidney Crosby consistently talks about the time and space, and Dan Muse always talks about it because you see a Gerard who lets the defense behind him to get an easy rebound right off the boards to put it past She Loves. Oh goodness, yep. And we're gonna. I don't want to get too black and gold or keep my black and gold sunglasses on too long, but it's tough to watch that, because this
For sure.
it is. Why is I don't know. Why is Gerard out there on a PK? Not too sure.
Yeah, either, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But back to the kind of the standings right now, just to kind of run down. Islanders are sitting at 89. Pens are sitting at 88. Like you mentioned, Flyers creep back into it. They're at 86. And Columbus is at 88 as well. So, if New York wins this game, they go up to 91. Pens are sitting at 88.
But it's 2-0. I think
Yep.
that's it all.
2-0. 2-0 Islanders. Wow. What happened on that one?
2-on-1. I think Witherspoon really put a bad pinch there, and bad pinch. Rusty missed a puck with a hand pass and back the other way.
Man, Spoons has been missing that pinch quite a bit.
It sucks for Carl because he played it right.
Yeah, there's nothing you could do. That's a good shot too. You know what I mean? That's
deep in his crease, though. He's got to come out.
Yeah, he went down way too early.
Way too early, deep in his crease, and he's got to come in and challenge that. I mean, it's multiple self-inflicted wounds there, that's for sure.
Yep. Yeah, he left that. I mean, why he went down like that and hugged the glove side, I don't know. He left that net wide open, above his blocker sides. Ugh, that's
frustrating.
Ugly second period, but back to Witherspoon, he did the same. Like, he's been pinching like that against Colorado. He tried to make that a routine play. All you got to do is dump the puck back down low. Instead, he tried to do this like Deke, like circle Deke in the middle of the ice, right at the blue line, and Nathan McKinnon stole right off him and did a Mario Lemieux down the ice, and made him look silly. Well, anyone listening to this, we're sorry to dampen the mood, but Pens are down 2-0, 16 minutes left in the second period. In terms of the wild card spot, so we play tonight. Obviously, we're playing right now. We play tomorrow, back at home against Detroit. Okay. Islanders play the Sabres tomorrow, and the Senators play the Panthers. Flyers play the Capitals. Hurricanes play the Blue Jackets. So
those two games against the Blue Jackets that the Hurricanes have, I'd like them not to lay down against.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
For once, do a favor. Instead of kicking our ass, maybe they help us out.
Yeah,
but
and
shouldn't have to rely on other teams to help them. I mean, this is self-inflicted. I said, I mean, that was the whole basis of my article, my game article for Dallas, and I'll continue to beat it like a dead horse. Things like that, self-inflicted wounds. And there's nothing you can do about it because they're going to continue to just do stupid stuff like that. And, I mean, look what happened. Barzal made them pay. Now they're down 2.
Yeah, and, at the beginning of the game, I actually agreed with Borky, the old 2-9er, who was talking about how She Loves looked locked in. Right, that first period, I think he looked good. You just can't give prime opportunities like that. And they're just consistently allowing it to happen in this second period. It feels like every game this second period has been, the Pens kryptonite. It's just it's killing
literally. To a T.
Yep. In terms of strength of schedule for the rest of the season, Scott, we're over the hump. We're supposed to be over the hump. Let's put it that way. We're supposed to be over the hump. This is
and that game, the last 2 big ones.
Yeah. Yep.
I guess Tampa. 3.
Yeah, Tampa's a tough one. Absolutely. So we were in the top, 5 for a while there. We bumped down to number 11. Now we are at 20. We now have the 20th hardest schedule in the league. Our toughest opponents right now, you just named them: Tampa Bay Lightning, Detroit Red Wings, and the New York Islanders, who we are on the ice against right now. But we have Florida twice. Could we win both of those games?
I'd like to think so, based off the fact that half of Florida's Stanley Cup winning forward roster is on LTIR or an IR, and they don't have much
vacation.
Or vacation. So if that is the case when they have the home, I'd like to think that. I don't know if they're going to play Sergei Bobrovsky down the line very much, especially since they're trying to essentially get within the top 10 so they can get their pick back. They don't have much to play for. So for me, I'd hope they'd not ice as many good players, but at the same time, that shouldn't really be an expectation. They got to come in those games knowing that they can beat them and they have to beat them.
Pens just scored to make it 2-1.
Nice. I'm so far behind you, it's insane. Wait, who scored? Soderblom, a glue guy.
The glue guy. Number 25, Soderblom, who's actually... Go ahead, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I said me and my dad call him glue guy every time he does something useful.
He, I'm not going to lie, he's actually kind of impressed me. I thought his skating was a bit clunky when he first came here, but he's a little bit smoother than I thought. Like, he can actually, he can move a little bit.
Good job, Soda.
Yeah, absolutely.
With it, and it bounced right on his stick.
Hey, that's all it takes. Get in there, get those high-quality opportunities. Look at that. He lifted it up.
That's all they needed. I'd like Tommy Novak to take some hints on how to elevate the puck.
There we go. Yeah.
What they needed. That's what they needed.
Love it. Well done. They definitely needed that.
bad thing.
Huge. All right. You feel better, Scott? You can get through this episode?
But yeah, I mean, I could anyways. I mean, being down 2 sucks, but being down 1 is not horrible. Just they can't give it back, because if they do,
Yeah, I just want to make sure there's no keyboards or anything around. So back to the strength of schedule.
Reference.
Yeah, you got it. So Penguins, back to that. So Penguins are sitting at 20th for strength of schedule. Like I just said, toughest games against Tampa Bay and the Red Wings left. You said that we could possibly win 2 games against Florida. I definitely agree. I definitely agree with that. We have 2 games against Washington as well.
Mm-hmm.
Are those winnable games?
Yeah, I think it depends where Washington is in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that point it'll be right at the end of the season, and they'll kind of know already if they're in it or they're kind of out of it, and they're kind of just dying for a draft pick. So I think it all comes down to where they are, because they might rest some players, but also possibly last time Obi plays the Penguins, I don't think they would rest him.
No, I don't think so either. But I mean, he's a threat always when he's on the ice, but is he a real threat right now? Like, you don't need to set your entire game plan around him anymore.
No, and I mean, hey, he has been scoring a lot recently. Just had a hat trick recently against Utah, and he's been putting the puck in the net. His teammates have been playing really well in front of him. They've been playing great, funny enough.
That's what I mean. They're sitting at 83 points. I mean, if they mess around and somehow win 2 or 3 in a row, they're right back in it.
100%. And that's what I mean. That's how stupid this Eastern Conference race is. I'm going to look at the camera when I say this.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anything like this before. I don't think anyone has. Because I've never seen so many teams in it this late in the season. And the fact that Capitals sold and they're still at this point is just ludicrous.
Yeah, and I think it says a lot that there's not one team in the entire Eastern Division or Eastern Conference that has a playoff spot locked up.
Yeah, literally. Like, it's going to come down literally to the last day of the regular season.
And then you look at Colorado and Dallas. They're the only 2 teams that have their playoff spot actually locked up. Anaheim, Edmonton, they're both sitting at 86 and 83 respectively. Vegas is sitting at 80 and somehow, sitting in a playoff spot. Nashville somehow came out of nowhere. They're in a wild card spot with 77. If the Pens were sitting on the
west side,
on the west, we'd be sitting comfortable. But
but this game would be nothing except okay, 2 points.
I mean, Minnesota's sitting at 94 points in 3rd place in their division. That division is absolutely wild.
We just came back from commercial. You know that money puck graph that was up this morning? They just threw it on the MSG feed. They're throwing it as we speak, which is essentially a 15% swing whoever loses this game.
Yeah, and it's been all over the place. I mean, it's because it's real, right? I mean, there's a significant swing, and every Penguin player in there knows how big this game is, including our captain, who is on the ice right now, right? And I meant to say this at the very beginning of the of this show, but I'll go back and say it now. All time against the Islanders, the Pens are 58, 65, and 17. When we play on the island, all time we're 134, 108, and 38. All right, so Pens versus Islanders all time, 134, 108, and 38. When we're playing on the island, 58, 65, and 17 all time. So we have a losing record all time when we're playing on the island. This season 1-0-1. Crosby's the Penguins all-time points leader with 92 games played. He has 140 points against the Islanders. And this is Shelov's first game against the Islanders. So the Pens are 8-6-5 in their last 19 games against the Islanders. Going back even further, the Penguins are 12-7-5 in their last 24 games against the Islanders. and Pittsburgh has just 8 regulation. Say that again.
It's 3-1 Islanders.
Man. And Pittsburgh has 8 regulation losses in the last 31 matchups versus the Islanders dating back to November 2018. Man.
As you're reading off the stats, damn it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a rough second period for Shelovs and the Penguins. I mean, again, net front management. I mean, this was off of a rebound, right? Look at what. Oh, I mean, I get it. But you got to put a body on him. Who is that, Rust?
They're not hard enough. They're not playing hard enough.
Mm-mm.
And that's kind of the way it's been the past couple of games. They're not playing hard enough, and
it's like they're gripping it too tight. They're like playing hard. They're playing urgent, but not playing quality hockey.
They need to.
Yeah, man, they're gonna mess around and.
I would say if you know the word FAFO, you know that's what's going on right now.
Yep.
And they're going to. That's what they're doing right now. They're going to find out. They're messing around to find out.
And you could see the frustration too. Like even Rust, I know he wears his sleeve or his heart on his sleeve or his emotions on his sleeve. You know, he's frustrated. Goals aren't going in as easily as they would like to right now. Feels like they're getting shut down when they're coming into the zone. Nothing's easy for them right now. Nothing at all. But they got to work through this, man. They have to. This is, I mean,
communication looks really off right now. Now, miscommunication led to that goal. Sid overpassed it, Carlson overskated, and they went back the other way and goal.
Yeah. And now they just took another penalty.
Sake.
Man, what a period. This is getting ugly. If they score here,
period.
What's that?
We're not even 10 minutes into the period yet. Oh, this is. I'm gonna beat the dead horse. The words self-inflicted.
Yeah. What do you think is when you say self-inflicted? What are they doing right now in your mind? I just want to get into your mind.
Yeah, just things like bad pinches. They've now become really penalized team, and they make too many mistakes. They make too many like simple mistakes. Like such the simple things have now become too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Make it harder on themselves to play the game because they're unable to make the most of the situations in front of them. You know, Carlson pointed out, and it's funny we keep mentioning Carlson, but he's like the only leader I've seen that's actually spoken the truth.
Yeah.
And it's these moments they can't crumble, they can't seize under pressure, and I mean ultimately they are. They're just not. They don't got it.
Yeah, and everything's just been hard. You know what I mean? Like you nailed it. Nothing has been easy for them. It's just wait for it. You know, because the Pens just scored a shorthanded goal. Rusta Raquel for a shorthanded goal, and the Penguins
Really?
suddenly alive again.
I'm going to see this right now. What a play. What a play. Did we just talk smack for the rest of the episode?
We have an episode to do here. Look at that.
Come on, guys. They have an episode. We have an episode we're trying to record right now. I'm looking.
This was our fault for doing it during the episode, right? This is our fault. This is completely our fault. Good on Rax, man. He's been on fire. Before that shorthanded goal, Rickard Rakell has points in 11 of his last 12 games. He has 6 goals, 9 assists, and is currently on a 3-game point streak. This takes it to 4 games. 4-game point streak for Rax.
In a previous episode before this, like a couple episodes ago, I continued to kind of beat down on Rickard Rakell and his play and the amount of money he makes. I think it was the pre-deadline episode we made. I talked about, if Jason Robertson available, could you move on from Rakell to get Robertson or Robert Thomas?
Yeah, we talked about it.
I think he said, you know what, screw that. And I think Erik Karlsson might have said something to him to influence his play, but man, he has been really good as of late.
He's been incredible. I mean, I think that was his 18th goal. Um,
Yeah, I think so.
but he has 22 points, 10 goals and 12 assists in 28 games against New York Islanders. And he has
Okay,
point.
can I cut you off here? I mean,
Yeah.
how many times is Matt Barzal gonna have a breakaway in one game? I swear that's like 4 in this period. I mean, how is it possible? I mean,
Just sits at the blue line.
I'm actually throwing my hat down. This is frustrating.
He just sits at the blue line waiting for it.
Damn.
But it's really good to see Rax playing well. You know, I was kind of bummed to see because they moved around the lines a little bit, right? They have Chinikov, Rustin, and Crosby together in the top line, and they put Mantha, Brazo, and Raquel centering the second line. Personally, I would like Rax to stay at a wing, right? I think he plays so much better at the wing. I think his production, it's really hard to put him at center and just his production drops significantly when he's at center, but maybe it doesn't. You know, I don't actually have any numbers to back that up. That's just the eye test. But, you know, as of late, he's just been on fire. And we are now tied. Ryan Shea clings one off the post and in. The Penguins tie it up with the New York Islanders with just under or just over 6 minutes left in the game.
Yeah, my God.
This is why you throw the puck
That's like a full 10 seconds.
Beautiful. 6:31 left in the second period, and the Pens tied up at 3.
They're how ass they are, and maybe they'll just score more.
There you go.
I mean, it's kind of funny because I said about, you know, I feel like they don't got it.
Mm-hmm.
And part of me still thinks they don't. Sounds bad to say, but a great drop by Mantha. Oh, what a rocket. No chance there. No chance.
Look at Sid. He's so pumped. I love it. Shazo with a 77-mile-per-hour slap shot. Beautiful. Beautiful. You know, it's funny, right? I think you and I are very different in this sense, right? Like,
yeah,
you get very emotional, right? Like you get very you get very emotional. We'll just leave it at that.
Hey.
I'm a little bit older than you, right? That's on record. And I've learned to just let it play out. But it is so frustrating to watch them dig a hole and then see them come back. And when they're trying to come back in a game, they play so much better than when they're ahead.
Which is not a good thing.
No, because it's not a good thing.
Forcing yourself to have to be resilient, and it shouldn't be a memo around the team where you have to come back from that much down. Like having to come down from two-goal leads like that, like sucks.
Yeah. Oh, and it doesn't always happen, right? They've allowed themselves to fall in the holes they can't get out of, right? But every now and then they'll get a lifeline, and I think that this is a game where they got a lifeline.
Well, Columbus losing to San Jose and then getting 1 point against Boston in a back-to-back is huge. Like with a game now on them, like that's massive. And I mean, they're all playing tomorrow. Every single team's playing tomorrow. So that's going to be kind of an indicator depending on the result of this game.
Penguins take the lead. Anthony Mantha on a breakaway goal.
Come on.
How quickly things change.
5-hole.
How quickly things change.
My God, Mo.
What is that? 28 for Mo now?
20. I'm. You know what's it's bad? He might price himself out.
Yeah, he's someone. Unfortunately, I don't know that we're going to be able to pay him what he's going to get next year in free agency because
goal scorer.
Yeah,
or like, he'll be just under or at 30 goals. That's hard to come by. And with his age, he might want to go to a team that's like a true contender. Knows, let's say what, like Colorado throws money at him. You'd be stupid not to go to like a Colorado if they offer him money.
Yeah, sure. I mean, let's just hope that, you know, his wife has been doing some really good social media in the city of Pittsburgh, right? She's all over TikTok. The kids look good in black and gold. Maybe he decides to stay. Right? That was number 28 for Big Mo.
Big goal for him.
Yeah, huge.
Big goal for the paycheck. Big goal for the paycheck. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's someone. He just every game he's just a producer. I mean, just a producer.
Speaks volumes.
But yeah, I really hope we're able to sign him. He's been a huge asset to this team. You know, I think the Penguins would love to have him on the team. We have the cap, but I just don't see them, you know, prioritizing, you know, someone like Mantha.
For sure.
What, he's 31. He's going to be 32. You can't sign him to a long-term deal at 31 years old. I mean, and I imagine this is probably his last big contract, right? You know,
a bridge deal. You'd like to think like a 3-4 year deal for him is probably what he'll be looking for. Just at the fact that he's at that time where he's got a family, right, and he's got a lot to think about, and you know, there's just a lot of questions he's got to ask with his family. Is Pittsburgh a place where he thinks he can win too, and it is good for his family? You know, family is so important, especially in the National Hockey League, where it's like, you know, like you're living your life out and playing for this team. You know, like that's your life ahead of you, and you got to realize where do you want to settle down after it's all said and done, right? He goes into retirement. So I totally understand that.
And he's bounced around the past few years, right? I mean,
for sure,
spent some time with Detroit, then with Washington, but you know, since then it's been Vegas, Calgary, and then here. Maybe he takes a smaller, you know, amount to stay one more year, or you know, sign a 2-year deal, something like that. I don't know. I mean, you know, is he someone that they just ride out and don't even make an offer to? I don't know. You know, getting in Dubas's head, I don't see them, you know, just allowing a 30-goal scorer walk away.
Just like walk away. Exactly.
Yeah. Make him some kind of offer, but I would love to see him stay. He's been
same here.
You know, he's been a huge asset to this team.
I think you've got to ask yourself as well. Chinakov's going to price himself pretty hefty too. So you got to think about that. Okay, can you allocate money to both of them? That's within reasonable, because you got to think, okay, if like we talked about, depending on no Gino or Gino, you know, like money's got to go to him too if he stays. If not, then you allocate his money to, you know, to them. You keep those guys going at.
Personally, I would be okay allocating that money to Chinakhov.
Oh yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I would, you know, side with you on that any day of the week.
I don't. Availability has become an issue. Temper has become an issue. Well, you know, there's just so much there. I don't know if, I mean, do they sign him for one more year and say, okay, like this is it? I don't know. I'm saying it's 50-50 right now.
For me personally, I'm going to say just like it's time to move on. I thought it was time to move on in 2023. But again, that's me being radical in the fact that I thought Vincent Trocheck at the time was the better option to sign than Malkin.
And
like younger.
I think it's just like, okay, we hit the 20-year mark, right?
Yeah, I added too.
We've celebrated it. If you're able to be if you're able to be an asset to the team, stick around. If you're a detriment to the team, okay, let's move on. Yeah. Yeah, and when you need him, like we're down the most important stretch of the year, he's not available. You know, he took a 5-game suspension. Like all those things add up. I think the trust level, I think, is at its lowest. So I would not be surprised if they do not bring him back another year. Oh my goodness. But in terms of the cap next year, I mean, we have a lot of space.
Yeah, like
Mantha again. Pens go up 5-3. Anthony Mantha with the second of the period.
Yeah, baby, what a goal!
And we are sorry, anyone listening to this. You just heard Scott hit an octave I didn't know he had.
Well, you know what's funny? We just talked. It's fitting that we just talked about the fact that Mantha might price himself out, and now he's only 1 goal away from 30 goals. Wow. I mean, yeah, he's gonna catch a bag. in the offseason.
Wow.
What a move by Mantha. Patience. He stuck with
31
it.
years old, and he can still
Three
drive to
guys.
the net like that. What a pass. Who passed that?
Man.
Braz. Good pass. Good
Oh.
vision. Everything.
What a table turner.
5 goals in this period.
Goals in the second period.
8 goals total for this game.
4 goals in 6 minutes.
Yep,
6 minutes.
There we go.
Guys.
And we are listening to it live.
While we're trying to record an episode.
We're never doing this again. We're never doing this again, Scott.
Okay. I want to point this out, Ken. Like I said at the end of last episode, this team gives you heart attacks.
You did.
My heart is racing right now. Like it's beating. Like here, let me pull up my Apple Watch here. I'm currently at 120 beats per minute.
So for next season, okay.
Mm-hmm.
As of right now, we're looking at 104 million for the cap limit.
Because the cap's going up.
Yeah, significantly. The projected cap hit so far is 59 million. So that leaves us with about $45 million in cap
45.
space.
That's kind of. I thought it was 46. I was pretty close.
Right around there. So there is. I mean, based on Puckpedia, it looks like we have 18. It will be 18 active roster spots for next season. Yeah.
Okay.
So, so we have, I mean, there's a lot of room to play with there. If we're talking $45 million to play with there.
That's a lot of money to play with. I think obviously there's a lot of questions in the goaltending department. I think you got to talk about, hey, well, what do you do with Stu Skinner? What do you do with Artie? What happened, or what's the plan with Sergei Murashov? He's ripping up at the AHL. We'll see how he does in the playoffs now that Wilkes-Barre is officially clinched. He's probably going to be the starter going forward with Blomqvist. And Blomqvist is another one. I think they gotta reevaluate really what I want to do with him.
I think it's going to be a competition next. Going into training camp, and it all depends on do they retain Artie? What do they do with, like you said, with Skinner? I think we give Marashov an opportunity to compete. You have oh my gosh, what's the Nailers goalie's name? Why it's on the tip of my tongue right now. Sorry.
Taylor Gauthier.
Yes, Taylor Gauthier. He's performing out of his mind down at Wheeling, right? And we just signed Diego.
Yes. That's nice to have him on the roster.
Absolutely. So we have an incredible goaltending pipeline, in the system. So what does that mean at the NHL level? I don't know. Do we bring somebody else in? Do we make any moves? I think that needs to be our core focus for next year.
Yeah.
That in the defensive side.
I think ideally, just before we wrap up the goalie department here, I think ideally retaining one of these goalies would be a good idea, and Sergei Murashov makes the full-time jump. So that allows Joel Blomqvist to be a full-time starter next year in Wilkes-Barre, and then you see where you want to go with him.
Yeah, and having Blomqvist and possibly, Gauthier, possibly come up and play behind him, or those two, go 50-50, whatever you might have, right, at that level. Because you got to find out what you have in Blomqvist. Do I think he is better than Marashov? I don't believe so. I think Marashov is kind of the next man up.
For sure. Before we head into the defensive core, we have some breaking news in the National Hockey League.
Go ahead. Give it to me.
The Toronto Maple Leafs have fired general manager Brad Treliving as effective immediately.
No way.
So Toronto has officially let go of Kyle Dubas's predecessor, effective immediately, and the Toronto Maple Leafs have made a change in the general manager department as of literally 2 minutes ago.
No way.
Ticker just came through my ticker there.
Incredible news.
I'm gonna read this off to you here. It says Ellie Freeman tweeted out, "Toronto is making a change to the GM position. Let go of Brad Treliving tonight. He is officially out in Toronto." So that is, see, speaking of that, we've had two bombshells now. We've had Bruce Cassidy fired for John Tortorella, and now we've had Brad Treliving out in Toronto.
Yeah, and whenever we were talking about the Butch Cassidy, say that again.
Cassidy.
Yeah, what did I say?
Well, we were talking about how the culture in Vegas was just like, we thought it was okay. We talked about how we thought, the team's just going through a rough patch, and all teams go through it. Obviously, they're now third place, and there's teams that are catching up to Vegas. But I didn't think it warranted them firing their coach. But
correct.
I would say this move in Toronto, I think it was warranted. I think to go from a team that was so close to a conference finals to missing the playoffs and not knowing the plan, and then really botching asset management at the deadline, I think was the final straw there in Toronto. And it's funny because it kind of is Penguins related, because Brad Treliving is Kyle Dubas' predecessor. He took over for Kyle Dubas' essentially built team that he took over from Lou Lamoriello, and then he signed all those contracts, and then kind of put forth towards Toronto's future. It's really interesting to see the fact that now he's gone after just 3 seasons.
While Kyle Dubas is fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah,
in the Eastern Division with a rookie head coach. Yeah. And a complete roster, our roster that he's completely rebuilt, from...
Yeah, I'm going to read this off to you.
From the foundation and everything. Yeah, go ahead and read it for everybody.
So Toronto hires Kyle Dubas, fires Kyle Dubas after he put a team that was also one game close to a conference finals. Hires Brad Treliving, trades away Mitch Marner, fall apart, failed asset management, and then fires Brad Treliving. That's essentially the pipeline of the Toronto Maple Leafs after Kyle Dubas is essentially sent and gone away from Toronto.
Did they say who's stepping in? I haven't looked up or looked it up or anything. No one in the interim?
There was no announcement on that. I'm going to imagine we'll probably get an update tonight. They didn't announce it in Toronto's official post. So I'm going to think probably the assistant GM might just take interim duties until they find one in the offseason. Because technically, they don't really need a general manager. They only need a general manager that can make roster moves like AHL and NHL because they're going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, and the anyone that's been attuned with anything that's happening within the organization, like the assistant GM can handle those duties, especially not to rub it in, but they're not going to the playoffs, so
Well, and I also want to point this out to you, Ken. Kyle Dubas was once assistant general manager to Lou Lamoriello in Toronto, and he took over when they got rid of Lou Lamoriello, and he took over that built team and tried to make them into a contender. You never know what can happen when you have an assistant. I mean, Eric Tulsky, assistant GM, is now GM in Carolina.
Yep.
Cool. But I want to get back to.
Yeah, go ahead. That was some good breaking news. That was well worth the interruption.
I saw it come over my ticker, and I want to break it while we're on air here.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep rolling.
So I wanted to ask you, Ken. Actually, I'm going to ask you a question here. Now, I wanted to talk about, like we talked about how Sid coming into the lineup today. We talked pre-show about this. I wanted to ask you, how much does Sid help? Obviously, coming into the lineup, knowing that, let's be honest, he's not 100%.
No,
like he's playing hurt.
Yeah, no, he's definitely not 100%, and you could tell he's not 100%. You could tell he wasn't 100% when he came into the lineup, before and then left in the middle of the game. How important is he to the team is one thing, to how much he's impacting the game on the ice, right? Do I believe that one? I think the power play alone is a significantly different power play whenever he's not on the ice, right?
Agreed.
I think that his puck control, the way he mandates attention, the way that he drags players to him down in the lower corner, and allows others to get open. I think that is almost priceless, and not many people can do it still, as well as he can. He's had 10 shot attempts
Tonight?
He had 6 in the first period tonight.
Wow.
Right? I think it might even be over 10, but he had 6 shot attempts in the first period. So I think him alone, it's just such a different team when he's not out there, right? Because he's still playing at such a high level, and I mean, it's really hard to put to words because, of course, the team is better whenever he's out there, right? He has 28 goals, 36 assists. He's 64 points. He's leading the team in points. How many? I mean, he's missed, a number of games. So yeah, he's definitely, he's definitely someone that that you want on the ice. But I think his vision and his hockey IQ just takes it to another level, right? He is hands down one of the top, 5 best players to ever step foot on the ice, period, hands down. So even at his age, he is still doing things that, most can never even think of doing. So I think they miss him a lot. I think that we would be in a much better position if he didn't miss so many games this second half or since the break. Him trying to play through injury, you're still not getting your full Sidney Crosby, but I think that you're getting enough that warrants him playing.
Well, and I think when he came back from his original injury in the Olympics, he obviously scored in that first game back in Carolina, and we thought, oh, he's a man on a mission. But the games after that, I know you could tell he was playing hurt by the fact that there's not as much production as you'd think there would be out of Sidney Crosby, and you could tell there was some times where you could tell he was fighting it out there, and you could see that, and when you could see it in the way he plays that he's not 100%, and you could see that like the hit he took in Ottawa, it was it wasn't the cleanest of hit from Cousins. Like he did stick his knee out, but it wasn't on the originally hurt knee. It was on a totally different leg. So I've got to think to that point, did it cause the other knee to maybe swell up, or did it have any ill effect on that? Like obviously we don't know. They kind of just designated his lower body and said he'll miss Dallas and then he's back tonight, right? But obviously who knows? Maybe he's really hurt and he's just pushing through it.
Well, right? All it takes is one little tweak, right? I mean because it's such a major part when you're on the ice, right? You and I both played. We both know that you use muscles that you wouldn't normally use on a day-to-day basis. So, and keep in mind, him and Gino have only played 3 times together the last 18 games, right? Now 19 games. So it's hard. I mean, it's hard to associate how much he means to this team as a whole. All I could say is yes, he does help that much, specifically on special teams, right? I think his production is, you can't replace Sidney Crosby on a power play line. You just can't do it, no matter who it is.
No, it's hard to replicate the legacy and everything that Sidney Crosby brings. Like there's no trying to replace that. Like even after he's retired and he goes maybe into a front office position, coaching, like how are they going to replace that full time?
It's so funny. My wife asked me today if Sidney Crosby would go into coaching, and I even said, I'm like, I just don't see him coaching after, right? I really don't see him coaching front office, hands down. Right? Hands down front office, whether it's in as some type of president or ownership type capacity. I just don't see him going into coaching.
Well, and I was going to follow up on that. I thought ownership would be in play. Maybe like he buys into a stake of the team.
Hands down, yeah. He
Becomes
should.
like owner of the hockey team. And I think, honestly, you might see that happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about it, but I have a sneaking hunch that he might do that. And let's be honest, would anyone be shocked? I don't think anybody would.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I did see a report that when Sidney Crosby is done playing, they might ask him to be GM of Team Canada Olympic team, which would be really interesting because I remember when Wayne Gretzky, he put together a team, and I was very young at the time, but I remember when they asked him and he did it, and he put together a Canada team. I think it wasn't during his coaching days. It was after they asked him if he wanted to do some general managing. So I am curious to see if he does follow up on that offer. It was said that they will offer him that spot. But again, I think it's all down to what he wants to do after his playing career, right?
All I'm going to say is I hope it's, a good 5-6 years from now. I hope that he plays until he's 45. And, I hope he's the oldest player to ever step foot on the ice. He's just too good.
Man.
Yeah, he's just too good.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
And as we're going into the final kind of, the final track of this episode, I want to talk about a few players right now. I want to talk about Novak. I want to talk about Brazeau.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to talk about Dewar, right? Because they have not been on a roll lately. Dewey, I know his defensive capabilities he brings so much more to the defensive side of the puck than most wingers do, or I guess center. Now that he's playing center, but Novak, I think he's been he has like one goal, in the past 10 games. Braz, since he's been back from injury, other than the goal that called back the other day, he really hasn't.
He's got
been
2 goals.
Effective on the ice.
17 games, I think I read correctly. 2 in his last 17. It would have been 3 in his last 17.
Yeah, with that one that was called back. Oh, I really, I know Novak. He's playing wing tonight on Kindle's line. Well, at least that's where he started. You don't really see much of him. He'll have little streaks where he'll be on fire, but those are 3 names. I know Dewar, I kind of put him in a different category, but Novak and Braz, I really want to see those 2 step up. Because we were very high on Braz at the beginning of the season.
Same here. And Braz peaked. I think maybe Brazeau peaked too high at the start of the season, and it's kind of come back to be like, oh, he's kind of come back down to earth a little bit.
Well, because we had him almost like written in pen that he was going to be a 25 goal scorer.
Yeah, and he was kind of making it look like, oh my God, like what did they did they hit here with a gem?
Yeah, right? Yeah. What is he at? Like a $1 million.
1.5, 1.25,
1.5. Yeah, something like. But either way, like that would have been a gem of a find, and he still is. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think that injury just really slowed him up. I think it stalled his any kind of momentum. Since coming back, he's been kind of, he's been on like 3 different lines with all different centers. And I know that every player needs to work through that, but overall, I do think, he's been on a slump. He's been on a hitting slump.
For sure. I think I was also to your point, I was gonna think it's hard to have to constantly adjust to new line mates. It's always known that like he was always playing with Kindle and Mantha.
Mm-hmm.
And they had chemistry and they were rolling and those guys were scoring. And then he went down with injury. And after that first injury, right at about the quarter way of the season where he was out week to week and he kind of missed some time there, I think it was 12 games, I think. He wasn't the same player. They didn't get the same Justin Brazeau back that they had before he went down.
Yeah.
He was on
And
fire.
even minutes wise, I mean, he's been trimmed down to his minutes have been significantly cut. All across the board. But I know as of late, the past, I would say the past week especially, it's been a little bit more balanced, and we're seeing it kind of more on the uptick. I know tonight he was playing on the second line. And seeing him, Kindle, and Mantha play together, I believe that, I know they were at least playing together on a few lines. They're effective. I think that's a good lineup. I think they're really effective. I also think that helps Kindle a lot. I don't think that he's able to carry
The load.
I don't think Kindle's able to carry a load whenever he has, Avery Hayes and Rucker McGroarty on his line. I don't think that you're going to get a lot of I just don't think you're going to get a lot of production out of that line.
No, and I think that raises the question of, the young guns, right? Like, what does that mean going forward? It's like they're in the AHL, but at the NHL, they stagnate, and they don't do very much. Like,
It's
first game was incredible.
Avery Hayes?
Comes down to, Avery Hayes.
Yeah.
The game after, but he was on the score sheet, and he looked incredible. And then after that, he just continued to, just tail, and he tailed them as, more and more and more and more.
Absolutely. And when you come up like that and you have opportunities like that, I know it's a lot easier said than done, and they have to produce, but someone has to stand out, right? Rutt has been up plenty of time to stand out. Koivunen has been up way too much to, he has to pull in front of somebody, right? I know he's been skating a lot better as these past few games, but dude's got to produce, right? Same with Avery Hayes. Like, Avery right now, to me, is maybe bottom 6 in the NHL if he sticks.
He might peak. He might just peak the bottom 6er. I mean, to be fair, he was an undrafted OHL free agent that Kyle Dubas was able to land. I mean, there's no expectations with guys like that, right? Like, if they're good in the AHL, amazing. If they're great at the NHL level, that's a steal. Like, you've got to find like that. But it's going in, you might not have the expectations going in with that guy, knowing he's an undrafted free agent that you signed.
And I would love, don't get me wrong, you nailed it. If Avery Hayes comes up next year and plays alongside like a Lizzo, right, and something like that's fantastic, because if you can get 10, 15 goals out of someone like that, like a Dewey this year, I'm great with that. But what does that say about our pipeline of talent right now?
And that's what I was really going to say is I still think Rucker McGroarty needs some work. I think skating's a lot of it. I think his skating still needs so much fine-tuning done with it. I thought his skating was the result of that penalty they took in Dallas, which I think actually led to a goal. He got beat by a guy and then proceeded to trip on his own feet, and then he tripped another guy in the process. And I noticed how he stumbles over his own feet a lot, and his skating still needs so much work.
So much. Yep. Hands down.
I think guys like that.
In the AHL, he looks like he's flying, right? But then he comes up here at the NHL, and he looks like he's in slow motion compared to a lot of these players.
It's like that with literally every player. Yeah. I find that it's like Koivunen comes up, and it's like I don't expect him to do anything. It's like he's just a warm body in the lineup.
And that sucks. I missed, self-admittedly, anyone out there who's been listening, self-admittedly, I missed on Koivunen. I thought this was going to be his season. He ended last year, playing some minutes on the top line, just getting opportunities, and I was like, this is going to be his year, right? And then he looks like a completely different player this year. He's just getting bullied around out there on the ice. I mean, he's getting bullied, and he needs to put on some
more
weight.
So
some
would you say
muscle weight.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like when I mean size, I mean like muscle. Put more muscle, some more meanness on his body.
Yep, hands down. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we got about 10 minutes until we hit the 90-minute mark. So it's a bit longer than we expected. I know we're watching a game as we're doing this. What do the Pens have to do the rest of the season in order to get into the playoffs?
I think they need to go back to the recipe that works. They need to tune their game a little bit. I think they need to give their goalies a chance to give them a save. I think in the second period, like we saw, those 2-on-1s killed them, and that resulted to 2 goals. They need to, and you know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of when Sully was kind of winding his time down here in Pittsburgh, and they had problems of 2-on-1s. They always were giving them up, and they had a stat where they were like number 1 in the league for most odd man rushes against.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think that's something it sucks. It's creeped back with Dan Mutes. Like I said, old habits have reared their ugly face a little bit. It's something they need to fix a little bit. I think they need to just go back to the drawing board and get back to habits that prevent that from happening. Like we talked about Parker Witherspoon, like say by some chance they make the playoffs. Like, okay, if you face, let's say, I don't know, the Islanders, a Columbus, a Philly, or if you somehow make a wildcard spot, you face a Buffalo, a Carolina, or a Tampa. Like, those teams are going to pick you apart if you don't clean it up. And I sound crazy. I'm fully believe in a 7-game series, they can beat the Carolina Hurricanes if they play good.
Okay.
If they play to the way they can, where they took them to those overtime games, I have full belief they could beat them.
That's one team I have a positive feeling going up against.
100%. And I think every single Penguins fans, I'm sure there's some Penguins fans where they would disagree with us, but I think there's also a lot of Penguins fans that say, yeah, 100%. I think we can beat Carolina. And I think that speaks to the fact of how strong the Metro is and how much stronger they are this year than they are over the past couple of years. Where you wouldn't even think they'd have a chance against them, where you think Carolina would walk right all over them, and they, would have their way with the Penguins and legit just dominate every game, and you wouldn't expect them to win.
So if we do make it to the playoffs, and if we get through this stretch, which we haven't talked about St. Louis yet, but because I don't want to go into that last game of the season needing to win that, because St. Louis has looked really good.
But
they have looked really good.
Yeah,
but
that scares me. But
if we go into the playoffs, who do you want to see first round?
I'm going to say not the Islanders, just because I've got a lot of nightmares. I think every Penguins fan and every Penguins media has a lot of nightmares about the Islanders. I think the history they have with them over the recent years, dating back to 2021, 2019, and some of the regular season games in 2024 and 2025. And this year too. I just don't think realistically, can they break the curse? I'd like not to see them. I'd like to see either Columbus, or I'd like to see, sounds bad, I'd like to see Buffalo.
Oh, see, I think Buffalo this year, I think they've got, they're just on a roll. I feel like if we saw Buffalo round 1, I think they win. That's one team I don't think we can beat. Yeah.
I think Buffalo's overachieved this year. I think they are a team they've peaked. Mm-hmm. They're like the Washington Capitals of this year. They're probably going to win their division. I think they're the Washington Capitals of their Eastern Conference. They're probably going to win the division. They're probably going to they might win the conference in the regular season, not the playoffs. Mm-hmm. I mean the regular season.
Yeah, I got you.
I think they'll peak this year, and then next year they'll start to peak off a little bit. And that's where I think the Penguins might be able to take advantage.
Yeah, so we have, as of right now, based on hockeystats.com, which love you guys out there.
Those guys.
I do. Yeah, they're awesome. As of today, we're looking at 33.3% chance of playing the New York Islanders in the first round.
Thoughts?
25.3% chance of playing Columbus Blue Jackets, and a 17.6% chance of Philadelphia Flyers, and a 17% chance of missing out altogether. So, this is going to change by the time we get there. I think realistically we're going to be seeing Columbus or the Islanders.
Yeah, more than likely if they were to make it, obviously, I don't know what's going to happen. This team, again, it's very unpredictable. I don't know how they work this year. But I do think if they were to make it in a divisional spot, yeah, they would be one of those two. And
Absolutely.
I got to think based off of on the peaking Flyers, I think the Flyers have under 30 regulation wins. I think they're only at 25 wins, right? Regulation wins. So if they got to a tiebreaker, you'd rule them out. Oh, there's a fight. Soderblom is fighting.
Why would you want to fight him? He's like 7'9".
I don't know who's 24. Oh, he took him down. Oh man.
That arm length is ridiculous.
Man, the thing is with that arm length, though, for me, I'm a tall guy. For me, having to throw your arm like this in a motion, such slow punches, man. They're sluggish. He's trying to grab his arm.
Yeah, you could tell. He lost a little bit of balance there, but nice job on Soderblom. That's the second penalty of the game, but
I will say Scott Mayfield probably picked the wrong guy to fight on the team. Dude, out of all the guys on the ice, you pick the guy that's 6'8".
Yeah.
That's you don't mess with that guy. Man, they both landed some big punches.
They did. Well done, Soderblom.
Man,
that's nice.
Soda really fed him some rights at the end there. And then he took him down too. That's a great fight for Soda. I definitely did not have that in a bingo card. My goodness.
No, not at all.
Especially this late in the third period, you're close in under 10 minutes, or not even 15 minutes, or 5 minutes into the period.
I know we got a whole period ahead of us. Scott, just a quick what do they call it? Lightning round here. I'm gonna ask you just a few questions. All right?
Sure.
A few questions. How many wins do we get the remaining of the year? We have 9 games left. Well, 8 games left. Well, we won't count this one.
We won't count this one? Okay. After this game, I think they'll split with Florida. That's the hope. That's what I think will happen. So we'll take one out of the 2. I'm going to say against Washington, I think they also will split 1-1. And then St. Louis, oh man, that's a tough one. Well, I also got to think Detroit tomorrow. Detroit's healthy, and Detroit's rolling. They just beat Buffalo. Let's not take that away from them. I'm going to say they lose to Detroit. And I'm also going to say Tampa, I think they're going to, oh, Jesus. I want to say they lose, but at the same time, they have a chance. So I'm going to say they win that game. I think they're going to go into Tampa and beat Tampa before they head home to play the other Southern Florida team.
And what about New Jersey?
And then, they play the Devils. My goodness. That's how much I forgot. They got a 3-on-1 here. Kindle. They score! Hayes!
Avery Hayes makes it 6-3.
Oh my God, what a play by Kindle.
Wow. Good on Kindle. We were just talking about Hazy. That's how you make an impression. There you go.
There we go. Good job, boys.
There we go. That's huge.
What a play by Kindle to stay with, and Hayes just right on the tape. Wow.
Second. All right. So,
out.
All right. So you're saying we go 500 the rest of the season?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay.
Well, and that's the thing. I read a stat is they only need to go 500 to make it.
Absolutely.
If they win this game, and if they win tomorrow, they only need to go 500 the rest of the way, and they get in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that would be perfectly fine.
They can do it.
Who is just talking about after the Olympic break? Who's been the MVP of the team?
Erik Karlsson.
Who's been the most surprising?
Anthony Mantha.
Oh, okay. And who needs to step up?
Tommy Novak.
And going into the playoffs, who is your starting goalie?
Stuart Skinner.
Very nice. All right. Well, do you want to wrap this up so our listeners don't have to listen to us listening to the game?
Yeah. Thank you everybody for listening to this episode. We'll be back next week with a new episode. Hopefully it'll be on a more positive note. We're hoping that this team won't be in the gutter by then.
No.
Because then they might be. But we appreciate every one of you guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week. There's going to be lots to talk about. Ken, thank you for joining me tonight. Hopefully nothing bad. You know what? I'm just gonna not talk because of this.
Don't even worry about that. Absolutely. Everybody enjoy the rest of the game. Again, check out pghdscn.com and check us out on all your podcast platforms. See y'all next week.